KishaneThompson now storming forward. KishaneThompson and Team Blake, and they make it safe. 9.80. KishaneThompson.
Okay.
Thompson now gets into his running. Oblique Seville left behind. KishaneThompson and Oblique Seville. KishaneThompson cross to the line.
One race can flip the storyline, and in Poland, KishaneThompson did exactly that. Under a bright Silesian sky, the Jamaican bullet blasted to 9.87, equaling the meeting record and settling a score of sorts in his first 100-meter showdown with Olympic champion NoahLyles since Paris. Lyles closed like a train, but the clock read 9:90, a season's best. Close enough to keep the suspense alive, not close enough to change the headline. And the headline matters. This wasn't a soft field or a lucky break. This was a blue-chip Diamond League stage with KennyBednarek charging for third and a pack of American finishers stacked behind. The kind of race that tests nerve as much as legs. More than the time, it was the posture. Thompson looked composed, ruthless, and ready for September. He didn't just win, he set the tone for the final sprint into Tokyo, where reputations get minted or melted. If Paris was heartbreak by 5 thousandths, Silesia was the comeback trailer, a reminder that the margin between agony and glory is a blink. And he's still here, still fast, still hunting. Kishane's arc has the clean lines of a sports documentary. Explosive talent, a public gut punch, and a roaring return. Paris 2024 is the scar and the spark. Both he and Lyles were timed in 9.79, with the gold decided by 0.5 seconds after a nerve-shredding photo finish. That moment could derail a career. Instead, it hardened his edge. Fast forward to 2025 and the resume is loaded. Sub-10s on repeat and a blazing 9.75 earlier in the summer that made statisticians sit up straight and rivals rethink race plans. But what truly separates him right now is execution. Drive phase locked, transition smooth, posture relaxed under pressure. He's not trying to survive the first 30-meter, he's weaponizing it. You can feel the purpose in the way he lines up, like every start is a personal rematch with that Paris frame. It's not that he's angry, it's that he remembers. And in sprinting, a memory that sharp can be a superpower when it turns into mechanics, not melodrama. If Silesia is a barometer, the needle says ready. The question is whether ready becomes champion when the stadium is bigger and the stakes get absolute. On the day, the blueprint was textbook. Gun, pop, drive, clean, transition, snappy, maintenance, calm, dip, efficient enough. Thompson carved an instant cushion, imposed pace on the field, and forced everyone else into chase mode. Lyles, true to form, made the home straight interesting, punching the time down to 9:90, but the gap never fully closed. Behind them, the sheet read Bednarek 9.96, Coleman 9.96, Bermel 9.97, Lindsay did 10.05, Kimbine 10.10, Akeem Blake 10.11, Dowick 10.32, with a legal plus 0.3 yen, detail work that confirms class, not chaos. Still, the camera freeze frames surfaced one nit, the lean. It worked. It wasn't laser perfect. In a championship final where medals swing on hundredths, that tiny imperfection can turn into a headline, especially against a closer like Lyles who lives in the final 20-meter. Silesia proved the plan is live and lethal. It also whispered what needs drilling between now and Tokyo. Finish mechanics as a failsafe if the start isn't picture perfect. This is the rivalry track and field needed. Thompson's rocket launch versus Lyles' late race locomotive. In Paris, Lyles edged it with a torso at the tape and a lifetime best. In Silesia, Thompson flipped the script with an equals record win and a no-doubt exit velocity. Their contrast is cinematic. One wins the first 40-meter, the other weaponizes the last 40. And the tactical layering is getting spicier, not simpler. Lyles' takeaway in Poland was telling. Sub-10 at last this season, despite a clunky start. Translation, his ceiling is still rising. Thompson's message was simpler. Catch me if you can. When race plans are this divergent and margins are this thin, the psychological game matters as much as the warm-ups. Silesia gave Thompson more than points. It gave him evidence he can beat Lyles head-to-head in 2025. And it gave Lyles a clear film cut-up of where the damage was done. The rematch that counts, Tokyo, will hinge on who solves who faster. Does Thompson extract another step from 0-60, or does Lyles tidy the first 10 and bring the thunder earlier? Buckle in. Ignore the supporting cast at your peril. The Silesia order of finish was a who's who of American firepower. Bednarek, Coleman, Bromell, Lindsay, plus battle-hardened Simbine, rising Akeem Blake, and Home Hope Widowick. 2 items jump off the page. 1. Bednarek is no longer just a 200 guy. He's clutch in a hot 100 and loves a fistfight in the last 30. 2. Akani Simbine is as dependable as sunrise. Wins in Xiamen and Rabat earlier this season, and a habit of finding 9.9s when others wobble. And don't forget the London Tremor. Oblique Seville dropped a 9.86 to beat Lyles head-to-head in July, proving Jamaica's depth is deeper than one name. That's the point. If Thompson or Lyles blink, the door isn't ajar, it's wide open. Fields this deep turn-clean execution into a prerequisite, not a luxury. Anyone dreaming of a two-man procession hasn't looked closely at the 2025 tape. Diamond League victories are currency. World titles are gold bars. The calendar is merciless. Tokyo 2025, 13-21. Thompson has the chops, starts that stun, a mid-phase that floats, and the legs to run 9.75 when everything clicks. But Worlds don't just test speed, they test sequencing. He'll need 3 rounds of discipline, a semi-final that conserves without conceding, and a final where the lean is choreography, not improv. That's why Silesia matters less for its time and more for its template. In the most pressurized 100 of the season so far, he was the coolest man in spikes. If that composure travels, Jamaica has its male standard bearer for the post-Bolt decade. If it wavers, the Paris pain risks becoming a motif instead of a memory. The good news? Everything from the shoulders down looks championship grade. The work from the shoulders up now decides whether the arc lands on the top step. Silesia's post-race scenes showed a composed Thompson. Handshakes, poise, a champion's calm. Some fans want more snarl. But the real mental edge isn't scowl count. It's clarity. Lyles is an A-plus showman who turns cameras into fuel. He can sell the moment and seize it, a rare combo. Thompson is the opposite pole. Quiet, technical, internally wired. Between now and Tokyo, the real test is whether he can treat Paris as data, not demons. Hold the memory, lose the baggage. That's where his camp's choices matter. Rehearsed finishing mechanics, rehearsed chaos handling, and rehearsed contingency if the first 10 aren't perfect. Meanwhile, the veterans will tap every psychological lever. Subtle pacing on call room walks, little delays, long stares, to pull a rookie mistake from a man who no longer races like one. The athlete who keeps his ritual intact on the most electric night of the year will keep his form intact at 60 meter. And that, in this rivalry, decides everything. Background on the Paris margin and aftermath confirms how thin the line is. So here we are, a season sharpened by a photo finish, a rematch won with authority, and a championship straight ahead in a city that knows sprinting history. The WorldAthletics Championships at the Japan National Stadium will run September 13th to 21, and the men's 100 will be the pulse point. One gun, one straight, one verdict. The matchup sells itself. Thompson's perfect start blueprint against Lyles' late phase inevitability, with Seville, Bednarek, Coleman, Bromell, Simbine, Tobogo, and more circling for the upset. Expect heat, noise, and a final where the winning margin could be a fingernail again. The only guarantee is that nothing is guaranteed, except that the world will pause for about 10 seconds and then argue for 10 days about what it just saw. For now, Silesia stands as proof that Thompson's not a rumor. He's a fact. Tokyo decides if he becomes a legend.